Mary is with us in Washington. Hey, Mary, what's up?
Hi. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I would like to talk to Dr. John about... So I'd like to save my marriage, but honestly, I am so tired, emotionally and otherwise, and I want to find out how to get past the resentment and get into a place of forgiveness.
What are you
Tell me about it.
What are you resenting?
Tell me about it.
So we've been on our debt journey for a long time. We've been on Dave's plan for over 7 years, and we're still on baby step 2. I found Dave on the radio and got our home finances in order really quickly. Then I found out that my husband, through his business, had over $700,000 in debt because apparently he thought he was in Congress. But it's been a long, hard road. Okay, so we're down to about $60,000 left to pay off of his business debt. And, of course, now we have this corona thing happening. Not helpful. I am tired. Right now, I try to emotionally support him because business is pretty tough. And so nobody emotionally supports me.
I was just writing that question down. Who emotionally supports you?
Well, my kids a little, but you know what? I can't do that to my kids.
Your kids aren't your
They're
support
kids.
system. That's correct.
My kids are young adults, but they're kids. And truthfully, we are kind of Dave-ish because I have some money saved at home away from the business debt. But our youngest is in college, and I'm committed to cash flowing that college. Plus, she has a good scholarship, and she's working. And I can't fix his business debt, but I can keep my kid from being trapped in debt. Okay?
Right. So
that's
tell me
a
about
priority for me.
Tell me about your marriage. Did he admit a decade ago to financial infidelity? Did he forget? I mean, did he admit to hiding this stuff? And has he gotten on the same page with you?
No, he wasn't hiding it. He wasn't hiding it. I mean, he wasn't being malicious. He was
just was what it was.
I guess. Ignorant. I mean, I'm working a different job. I work separate from his business, and so I was doing that and raising the kids. And
okay, but tell me about your marriage.
And I trusted him to take care of that 38 years married.
Okay.
I mean, I just trusted him to do that stuff, and I just think I don't think he was malicious. He just didn't know.
It sounds to me like you and your husband aren't on the same page, and I don't want to trivialize almost $1 million of debt. I don't want to trivialize 40 years of marriage, but it sounds like you're running an alternative life, and then you've got one with him, and then you've got one you're paying off debt.
You've paid off. You paid off almost $1 million in 7 years. What's the problem?
You're at mile 22 of the marathon.
What's the problem?
I don't know. I'm just out of gas, I guess.
What? Why? I mean, you're emotionally out of gas, and you're almost to the finish line. If he's been in reverse while you've been pedaling ahead the whole time, that's different. But why? I mean, why is it? I understand you're exhausted from working on this so long, but aren't you both exhausted? And hasn't he been arm in arm with you? I don't understand why. I mean, you should be both stumbling towards the finish line with the equal level of fatigue because you paid off an amazing amount of debt.
I guess that's true.
Who are you, and what is your marriage when this is paid off?
I don't know anymore.
That's the question.
Sometimes you tell people you need a dream together, and I don't even know how to do that now.
Okay,
we're going to hold you through we're going to hold you through the break, and then we'll come back to you.
Because I think your situation speaks to a lot of people's situation. So let's keep talking about it. We're talking with Mary in Washington. They started their journey 7 years ago. They paid off $700,000 in business debt down to $60,000 plus all their home debts. So hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, approaching $1 million in debt during this time. Mary's out of steam and is worried about her marriage after this time, and got some money in the bank to make sure the last kid gets through school, and wants to be supportive of her husband, but she's out of gas. Is that a fair, quick summary of what you told us, Mary?
Yes.
How much money's in the bank for the kids' college?
About 15,000.
Okay. All right. So it doesn't solve the problem. There's 60,000 over at the business, right?
Right.
Okay.
Well, the COVID thing is going to complicate that.
Sure.
So when you called, your first statement was you want to save this marriage. And then as you kind of worked your way through, I heard the hope drain from your voice. Why are you hopeless right now?
Well,
I know you're exhausted, and you guys paid off $640,000, which is just world
I haven't
class.
been able to get past the resenting him thing.
Okay.
I wanted to stay home with the kids. That was my dream. That's never going to happen. My youngest kid's 20.
Okay.
Not even possible, and there's nothing that can get that back. And
so,
I want to get past the resentment so I can forgive him and just get past the debt and move on.
okay. So you're not going to like my statement on this, but I want you to hear me. Your choice to hold on to the resentment is just that. And at some point, you've got to make a decision of, I can put this in a duffel bag and set it down. Is it painful? Yes. Did it take away the picture of the mom you wanted to be? Yes. But it is. It just simply is. And so a decision, and I know it sounds like I'm trivializing this, so don't hear it that way, but it's a decision to hang on to this stuff for a decade, to lose the fact that you guys have paid off $640,000 together, and I'm going to keep this going forward. And then suddenly we're going to look up, COVID's going to be over, we're going to pay this $60,000 off, and I'm going to still be carrying this around. What about it can you not let go?
No, it's the only dream I've had. So I need a replacement, I guess. I don't know.
You're hanging on, and I use this word intentionally, you're hanging on to a fantasy of what could have been, and it's just not. And so now what's happening is it's poisoning your current relationship with your husband. It's poisoning your relationship with your kids. You're creating a side world with your kids where, hey, I'm going to make sure I'm going to do this for you. And all of a sudden, the wedge between you and your husband's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's not about finances anymore, and it's about this poison that lives in you now.
Let me ask you this. How has once you discovered the debt and once you guys agreed to work on it together, has he put his hand to the plow for 6 years with you and cleaned this debt up?
Yes, it's almost all that he does at this point. I mean, he
so he's
occasionally does
he's
things
done
for
the
himself,
job
but
that you asked him to do upon discovering it. And you've done the job that you needed to do upon discovering.
Oh yeah, I've been working 2 jobs to help him fix his business.
Yeah.
And what I would suggest is y'all start saying you've been working 2 jobs so that we could fix our life. Because when you keep it, this is mine and this is his, and you divide the world up into me versus him, you are never going to come together and save that marriage you want to have. You're never going to fully integrate your kids into this partnership with your husband. It's just never going to work because it's always going to be you versus him. And if he hadn't have done this thing this many years ago, then I wouldn't have had this experience. The experience is over. It's here. It also sounds like you're struggling with your kids going off to college. Is that hard? Are you empty nester now?
I actually kind of liking the empty nest.
Good for you.
That's good. That's very good.
Surprising, but good. Yes.
Okay.
So can make the same decision on resentment and anger, both.
It just doesn't serve you anywhere. I mean, what anger does is it shows us that we care about something.
It's 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
7 years ago, I would be with you. 7 years ago, if you wanted to have a hissy fit, duck fit in the middle of the floor and flop around, upon discovering this and, have a real good 6 months of being pissed off, I go along with you. 6 years later, the guy's been doing everything he's supposed to do, and you've been doing everything you're supposed to do. There's no villain anymore.
It's like we're both working really hard to achieve his dream, but mine never mattered.
And if you continue to feel that way, if you continue to hear it that way, your first statement...
Right, I want to not do that, but I'm trying to figure out...
So what you need to do is you need to sit down with your husband, and y'all need to paint a new picture. And
there has to be a future.
You've got to decide, this picture of what we were going to live,
it's gone.
It's gone. So we can decide together, and you can lead this conversation. And if he's a guy that's willing to put his nose to the plow like he has, then he sounds like he's a guy that's going to come to the table with you and say, I want to proactively, affirmatively paint a new picture of what this is going to look like so we have something to live forward. We're not continually running back from a thing that happened a long time ago.
So here's what's occurring to me. I'm way out of my league here just listening to John. But if you want to be mad and resentful, or you are mad and resentful, in the marriage or out of the marriage, you're still mad and resentful.
And you still don't get those hugs back. They're gone.
The kids are still grown.
Right.
So you're mad and resentful in the marriage, or you're mad and resentful out of the marriage, unless you lay the mad and resentful down. And in either case, the kids still grow up.
Mm-hmm.
It's over. That part of it's over.
Yeah.
So now the new vision is grandbabies.
Right.
There we go.
Yeah.
If you trained them right, anyway.
You will, if and it may take, I don't actually think you need professional help on this one. I think you actually need to sit down and write him a letter and write down, here are the regrets I have, but here is what I'm willing to do to move forward. And here's the thing, like you've mentioned it, you're exhausted. You're at mile 22 of this marathon. You're so close. You're so close. Everybody wants to quit at mile 22. Just keep going. You're almost there. And make the decision to set the regret down and paint a new picture. You got to have something to go towards. You can't be running from something for the rest of your
Mary,
life.
the closest thing I can relate this to is when I went broke, when we went broke years ago. The hardest part of that whole thing for me was to get over being pissed off at myself for having been so stupid to build a house of cards. I took the lash to my own back for quite a while. Sharon didn't say a thing for about 3 years because we were just trying to survive. And then at that 3-year mark, at 10 years of marriage, or 7 years of marriage when we went broke, we had this implosion because those feelings that were stuffed down resurrected. And she suddenly was really, really pissed off 3 years later, kind of like you. And so we had to sit down and work on that with a marriage counselor. And I had to learn to forgive myself. And in the process, she had to learn to forgive me. And, you know, what was lost? Well, we lost the first decade of our marriage. To all the stupidity that I had been engaged in, and bad financial decisions, bad business decisions, and it took away that, and it took away her this fantasy she had that she had married Sir Galahad, and then she discovered it was Goober. You know, I mean, and so that, you know, we really did go through, I guess, a similar thing, but it is an act of the will, but it's a process to go through laying that down and saying, okay, I'm mad about that, but it is in the past. I'm resentful about that, but it is in the past. And I did some really stupid stuff. In my case, it's in the past. I can't undo it. I can't go back and fix it. It's there.
But we can get together and go forward.
Yeah, but I can. The only shot I got is the windshield. The reason the rearview mirror is smaller is that's called grace. I don't have to live in, I can extend grace to myself, I can extend grace to others, forgiveness to myself, forgiveness to others. And I had to, because I was really torqued. I was really mad at myself. And then later on, it took a while, but her anger got to the surface, there later on. So that's what this feels like listening to you. But I'm with John. I think you need to sit down with a good pastor, a good marriage counselor, somebody help you unpack this. I think it might be easier than you think it is because you were so able with your intellect to verbalize where you are. And so that's going to help, is that you've got a strong intellect to be able to deal with this. And that'll help you push the emotional process through.